it's not all poor, poor, pitiful Trump today. Some
I
of
want
this,
to
hold
talk
on,
about
wait, yeah, I
the
don't care what you want to talk
mystery.
about. Hold on one second. All right, some stuff we don't have to talk all about the impending indictment. That's not the only thing that's hinky in Trump world right now. Something else is funky right now. Something else is a going on. Something else is you know, there's some fiddling going on underneath the covers. There's that somebody is trying to Dutch oven American patriots. And yeah, oh, that one's too loud. I'm sorry. I will bring it down a little bit, if I may. I already brought the audio down, and it's still loud. Okay, sorry. Remember the January 6th footage? Remember when that was going to change everything? Remember that? When Kevin McCarthy gave 46,000 hours to Tucker Carlson, and he was like, "Ah, Shazam! I'm going to edit some of this shit together. There's no time code. You don't know what the fuck happened or when this is going on, but it's there's more of this. There's more where that came from, and then suddenly, it's gone. Suddenly, Tucker's not talking about the Jan 6 footage anymore. It's not a thing. That was one of the quickest, deadest talking points fucking ever. Now, he might be preparing a long-form edited bullshit video, but the minute it looked like the lawsuit from the Washington Post and the New York Times would go forward, and it will, Tucker all of a sudden stopped producing chunks of video. And it would seem that he was concerned that eventually, legally, he has no right to this without somebody else, that he, because Kevin McCarthy gave it to him instead of him getting it, whistleblower style, like any kind of, secret government document that shows, pictures from Abu Ghraib or something, where they have a proprietary right to showing them, and then everybody else has to credit them to do it. This is the people's footage given to him by a government representative out in the open, which means he's got to give it to everybody else. And once that happened, it seems like he lost interest in putting his little cut-togethers up and just moved the fuck on. Isn't that weird? 46,000 hours. We got, what was, in the first video we looked at, there was like 60 seconds, maybe, of repeating footage, cut out of order, no timestamp, none of that stuff. But, I have my obvious beliefs about what happened with that footage, and I think he's worried about it, somebody else getting the footage and making a big show of what a manipulative propagandistic asshole he is. But the mess has a different theory. Here's why Dinesh thinks Tucker Carlson stopped airing the Jan 6 footage. I'm curious, you're curious, everybody's curious. Let's find out.
I want to talk about the...
By the way, that little bell at the beginning is just such a stupid idea. Like, it's like a hear ye thing I think he was going for, but he's always talking over it when it happens because it's triggered by the graphics. It's just lame.
The mystery of the January 6 footage.
Hey, Scoob.
But I want to put it in a broader context.
Well, yeah, if you get specific, then you'll fuck the whole thing up because you don't do details well.
Of what's going on with Fox News.
Yeah.
And specifically what's going on with Fox News regarding this January 6th video.
Right. These videos, the whole video of all 46,000 hours, I think that deserves a plural. Probably George Soros. You're right. And Andy Symptom. I'm going to go with George Soros had something to do. He probably paid off Lachlan Murdoch. Lachlan.
You remember that Kevin McCarthy gave the video. Now, Kevin McCarthy says, I didn't really give the video. I made it available. Well, okay.
Did he make that distinction without a difference? Did he bother? He probably did. He's that big an asshole. Please continue.
Okay, he made it available to Tucker Carlson. And
yes, he didn't give it to Tucker Carlson. He only made it available to Tucker Carlson. Great, thanks. Important detail.
I think the expectation was not just of Kevin McCarthy, but a lot of people who had pushed Kevin McCarthy to release this video. They wanted to see a lot of the stuff that was held back by the January 6th committee. Let's remember the January 6th committee put out a thoroughly cherry-picked narrative.
Yes, unlike the Tucker Carlson stuff, which, by the way, borrows footage that the New Yorker posted.
So all the videos showing stuff that goes against the January 6th committee was not released. They just...
No. There was not exculpatory, if that's what you're looking for. The footage of someone walking between episodes of beating a cop does not get the person off the hook if you don't show the part where they stepped over a cop to get up the steps and then beat another one when they get up there. It's just a picture of someone walking the steps. They were basically tourists.
And in fact, if you look further at what happened with the January 6th committee, Liz Cheney even blocked the subcommittees that were looking at things like intelligence failures, the refusal to act on proper intelligence, the capital.
Oh, right. The idea that Nancy Pelosi and everybody there should have known that Trump supporters are violent psychopaths.
The police knew things, but they didn't.
They knew Trump was going to. Oh no, they didn't. He took that part out of his speech.
Do anything about them, and Liz Cheney was like, "Don't release any of this." Why? Because we've just got to make Trump the sole and exclusive villain. So you can see the kind of propaganda.
Hi. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Look at this. Yeah, I appreciate it. This is how lovely my girlfriend is. She picked up the exact drink that I already have. So we're going all night. It's going to be a 9-hour live stream. 6 espressos. I've like sipped that 3 times. I haven't even touched it. That's how I've lowered my caffeine intake, is that I get espresso and then I just sip it. Love you. Thank you. And that's sweet. What? Excuse me. Sorry, I had to get smoochy for a moment. Now, where were we? Oh, God.
Propaganda that committee ultimately, it became a propaganda factory.
Unlike Tucker Carlson. Please continue.
Now, there is new information coming out on January 6th, but it's not coming out from Tucker or from Fox News.
Oh, dear. Is it from Trump? He's truthing again, isn't he?
I had yesterday Joseph McBride, the attorney representing January 6 defendants. He talked about this document showing the Capitol Police had a sort of a game plan. And interestingly, this game plan not only anticipated a lot of things that were going to happen, but talked about having plants and infiltrators in the crowd, not just, by the way, people in the crowd to calm things down, actually people in the crowd to join the crowd and, if necessary, instigate things. And
oh yeah, if necessary, what would dictate a necessity to instigate things? If they weren't beating their fellow cops hard enough,
make chants and point to the Capitol and join people in going into the Capitol. So this goes beyond, by the way, the idea of the FBI having somebody inside the Proud Boys or the FBI having a plant at the 3%ers or the Oath Keepers, which
they didn't do.
We're now talking about the Capitol Police and the Metropolitan Police, all
having people undercover in a giant mob that was talking about attacking the Capitol for days. You don't say.
Also, taking on this role of, putting on pro-America, back the blue type of hats. Why? Because they want to be seen as indistinguishable from the Trumpsters, and therefore.
Yeah, but there was one distinction, though, Dinesh, and you have to admit this. There's one very important distinction between the people you would say are instigators that were part of the Capitol Police or the FBI that you allege were actually agents of or actual Capitol Police. The difference is they didn't, unlike the actual maggots, they did not participate in beating other police officers, one would think. And in those situations where people tried to stop the attacks on the Capitol and the attacks on the police, where you saw maggots going, "Hey, stop it." It's interesting that in the case of Ray Epps, for example, the guy you like to vilify, who you say is a FBI plant, his one instruction on the day that we're aware of from the guy he was talking to was, the cops are just doing their job, don't attack, which that guy didn't listen to and attacked the cops. So you're going to have to prove to me that the people that we saw on occasion trying to stop the people that, like the guy that saved Falzone's life, or the guys who were doing CPR on Roseanne Boylan, who eventually brought her to the uniformed police officers. You're going to have to prove to me that those weren't the plants in the crowd, that they weren't the ones that stopped the violence when it happened. Can you do that? No, I don't think you can.
Or think of it, if they do bad stuff, who's it going to be blamed on? The Trumpsters. Now let's turn to...
But if the Trumpsters do bad stuff, who might be there to keep it from crossing the threshold into abject murder? That would be the Capitol Police or anybody who's an informant who, while they are supportive of Donald Trump and wanted to be there, thought that if it resulted in a murder of a police officer or a fellow maggot or a member of Congress, that it would be bad for his cause ultimately, and tried to ratchet things down, and were warning the FBI or the Capitol Police or other law enforcement entities that their fellow maggots were planning the great day of the rope.
Fox News. Tucker Carlson on day one released some clips, and they were like, wow, look at all this stuff coming out about the shaman guy. Look at all this stuff about Josh Hawley jogging across the corridor. Look at all this stuff about Brian Sicknick. And then nothing.
I agree. I would go one step further in that the stuff that you're complaining about Hawley and the shaman, and Sicknick, that was nothing as well. So
the second day, when we're scheduled to be a day of more footage, nothing.
Starting to think this Tucker Carlson guy's full of shit, man.
And then you're like, well, it takes time to go through the stuff. It'll surely come out in the next day or the next.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Day or the day after.
I was like, every day Tucker comes on, I'm like, today's the day.
That, or this week, nothing. And It looks like that's it. It looks like
that's it. Now what am I supposed to pin my hopes on? 46,000 hours, and all they got is fucking the shaman guy walking around being corralled by police officers so he doesn't go someplace he's not supposed to go in the middle. Shit.
Like I won't say the fix is in, but it looks like somebody dropped the hatchet.
That's quite a fix. Yeah.
On Tucker Carlson.
I had no idea he was such an enormous dork.
And I don't know of any other way to look at this. I mean, obviously one.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're a myopic idiot. We understand your worldview is incredibly narrow. That's why we're here. The mess.
Way to look at this is that Tucker reviewed the 44,000 hours of footage and realized that, you know what, by and large, I found just 3 clips, and that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tucker isn't really saying. But the other possibility, which I give it, this is the 99% possibility, is after the first day. And let's remember, Chuck Schumer went on the Senate floor, Rupert Murdoch, I demand that you stop Tucker Carlson. And then guess what?
Is that what he said? Did he say, Rupert Murdoch, I demand you stop Tucker Carlson?
Somebody stopped Tucker Carlson.
Huh, that was easy. I had no idea Chuck Schumer had such power over... Let's give it a shot. Hold on. Chuck Schumer, Tucker footage, Murdoch, Belloc. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, just in Chuck Schumer slams Fox News. Rupert.
Last night, additional new evidence came to light that Rupert Murdoch and Fox News knew Donald Trump lied about the 2020 election, yet they allowed the big lie to air on their network all the same. More and more evidence keeps pouring out that these are the undisputed facts. I've never heard of a news organization push a story with such intensity while acknowledging, very candidly behind the scenes, that what they were peddling was total balderdash.
Balderdash? All right. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I would like the gentleman's flarn filth struck from the record, balderdash. Excuse me, the acceptable phrase is hornswoggle.
In one email, just revealed last night, Mr. Murdoch admitted sometime after January 6th that, quote, maybe Sean and Laura went too far, unquote, referring to primetime hosts Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham. In another,
I was for a second there, I thought it was a couple on a daytime soap opera, but
instance published last night's in another instance published last night in last night's Washington Post, Mr. Murdoch speculated that after losing the election, Donald Trump was going, quote, increasingly mad. Murdoch says Donald Trump is going increasingly mad. And then Murdoch worried that President Trump's allies plan to overturn swing state results. That sounds ridiculous and could lead to, quote, riots like never before. Murdoch, the head of Fox News, allowing these lies to continue, worries that they could lead to riots like never before. But it's not enough for Mr. Murdoch to express doubt and regret in private.
Clearly not.
Which is continuing to be documented. Because today, after he makes these expressions of doubt and regret and is very pejorative of his own newscasts and newscasters, the big lie still has a home at Fox News, Mr. Murdoch's station, news network. Just look at Carlson's segments this week. Members on the Republican side of the aisle should drop the pretenses and say it plainly. Fox News lied to the country about the 2020 elections, and in doing so, eroded the public's trust.
Yeah, okay. So obviously a
and
fiery,
who would have
a fiery and dark statement from Chuck Schumer that obviously is threatening Fox News with eradication. Eradicator.
Power to do that. No, it's not the. It's not even Suzanne Scott, the CEO of Fox News.
No,
these are orders that are coming from above. And that would mean most likely either Lachlan Murdoch, the son of Rupert Murdoch, who is sort of the de facto guy that people at Fox report to, or Rupert Murdoch himself. Rupert Murdoch, we know, is feuding with Trump. How do we know this? Because some very interesting...
Because he's a real billionaire and Trump's a fake one and it just gets under his skin, or?
Interestingly, and this all seemed to happen simultaneously, all the organs under Rupert Murdoch's control, of which
obviously does not include his, I'm sorry.
I named three. The editorial page of the New York Post.
Yes, it's de facto. Thank you, Doc Spano. Instead of de facto, I don't de facto.
The editorial page of the Wall Street Journal and the Fox News channel all simultaneously turned against Trump. So it's not...
It's weird. And it can't be... Must be his aftershave, I think.
Not as if you just have guys at these outlets, they've all made independent decisions. No, again, this is a corporate decision from the highest level. So
it's another example of woke capitalism.
I feel a little bad for Tucker because I think Tucker is a brave guy. And
yeah, totally. I mean, if there's ever trouble, you can count on Tucker Carlson to not hide in a penthouse like a rich asshole. He'll be the guy. He's always in the front lines. That's the thing about his show, is that he's barely ever in studio anymore because he was in Bakhmut last week. He was during Katrina. He was standing in the eye of the hurricane, reporting directly from it. He used to wear, that's why he stopped wearing bow ties, because it started spinning so fast he nearly took off.
And I think he would have liked to have run with the footage. Now, why doesn't he just come forward and say, hey, listen?
Because maybe he's not brave. Oh.
They blocked me. I can't release the footage. And the answer,
well, obviously, because he's a chicken shit.
Answer is somebody writes his paychecks as somebody writes the paychecks of everybody at Fox.
That's probably true. It is a business after all. Also, so you're saying he's brave, but he's also he can also be bought. He's just a whore, is the argument. Is that the argument? He's the world's bravest, the second bravest, the fifth. I mean, I don't know how many women have been paid to sleep with Trump. That's the question.
So what happens is they not only silence,
by the way, I'm jokingly using the word calm down,
these guys, but they force them into a pretense. And the pretense is that there's no news there, or they've made an independent news judgment not to cover it. In other words, they cannot admit the truth. And this is really, I think, the big problem with Fox, and really the big problem with some of the early email releases and so on that came.
Yeah, see, there might be another reason. You know what? He's only got a couple of seconds left. Remind me. Why is that legal? Okay.
Out through the Dominion suit with Fox is you get a little window into the fact that there are some people at Fox, not everybody, but some,
including Trump, including Tucker,
who are kind of laughing and deriding not only Trump, but the Trumpsters, the MAGA crowd. And
yes, Tucker is one of those people.
Yet at the same time, they're very aware that they need the MAGA crowd, they need the Trumpsters to keep Fox News in the kind of massively profitable, high ratings cable network.
Right. Yeah, that's... So again, the whore defense seems to be where it's going.
It is. And so you've got a very duplicitous two-step in which they try to give the MAGA people just enough, while at the same time satisfying the feuds and vendettas that apparently the Murdoch family is now a part of. I wanted...
Okay. Or try to follow me on this, the mess. Or some of the folks that are in that footage are in current legal jeopardy. And the footage that they have come across actually makes it more likely that they will be convicted, or it can be made to look like they have no defense, or that they are trying to get out of their plea, or a myriad of reasons why it might put them in more legal jeopardy for that footage to come out if indeed the government did not release it and charge them already. There are dozens of people who are not in the DC jail, who have been released on their own recognizance or are walking around with a fucking ankle monitor on, who are pretty sure they're going to get a slap on the wrist. But if this motherfucker puts out more footage that they were just walking around doing whatever the fuck they want, that they didn't come in and just leave, if they show up in some of that footage and it adds years to their prison sentence, you're talking about hundreds of lawsuits against Fox News on basically, I guess it's an end run around their Fifth Amendment protection, that through selective editing, they could blame Fox News for a narrative that did not allow them a fair jury, or that made it look like they were trying to get around whatever plea or whatever charges that they had in front of them, and it cost them time, or in terms of fines, they had to pay more money. There were thousands of people there that day. If you slapdash start throwing that footage up to try, to create exculpatory stuff, and never mind, by the way, you're not going to, but never mind the fact that the families of and the individuals in the DC police force, where you're showing them shadowing him and the like, if any of them get a fucking death threat, Fox is on the hook for that shit. They may already have some that are coming their way because of that shaman footage, where they made it look like those guys were helping him, which is, I mean, in and of itself, you're going to lose. Fox is going to lose that civil case, and those police officers could fucking retire on the multitude of settlements that are going to come out of that. Never mind if somebody threatens their life or their family because they're like, you lied on the stand, you were helping this guy and you turned on him and blah, blah, blah. And then one of them ends up taking a pot shot at their house, or their kids are in danger at school. Do you see how this rolls? You see how this is legal trouble for Fox News because Tucker doesn't give a fuck, and he's so busy trying to edit propaganda to own some libs or to like I quench the thirst of the maggots that watch his show, that he's looking past the fact that he is setting up Fox for a huge class action lawsuit from everybody who was at the Capitol that day. Not that I give a shit. I mean, I look forward to it. But I would say for the record that this myopic dimwit can't see past his own goals and is not, doesn't have a wide enough view to recognize the other legal perils involved in that kind of idiocy. Does that make sense? Do I have to? 2 times today, I've outlawyered the lawyers, and I'm trying. I'm trying very hard. Sometimes I'm trying, and you could say I'm trying, but I am trying. And I hate when I'm like sort of in a position to do these assholes some favors, because I don't want to. Good Lord. He is, in fact, a moron. It is true. He isn't woke, y'all. Who's not woke? Me? Yeah. Dinesh going after Fox warms my cockles. I know it's good. He's not, I don't know why people aren't more angry with Kevin McCarthy for this. Well, because I think on the one hand, people on our side of the aisle, Democrats and the people who love them, recognize that this is actually a terrible mistake, and Kevin McCarthy is a moron who will continue to make more terrible mistakes, and allowing him to keep making these terrible mistakes will eventually help us. And all this stuff about how our justice system is going to cadaver and nobody wants to, the whole legal system is going to fall apart because Trump gets tried for this fucking porn star nonsense, isn't going to happen. It's honestly, most people are going to go about their jobs and their lives and enjoy the country and continue to be citizens and blah, blah, blah. And if a bunch of them decide to fuck off and move to Qatar all of a sudden, I don't know what to tell you. If maggots decide to move to Russia, knock yourself the fuck out. But the reality is that I think most people aren't mad at Kevin McCarthy about this because it's a dumb move. This is just like the committees, and I'm going to leave you on this. I have said this before when these committees started, when people were like, they're going to take over, and I was like, they're probably going to lose the majority after they get it, and it's going to be glorious. But in the meantime, these committees they're putting together, these church-like committees, are going to do fuck all. They are not going to move the needle at all because they're all based on bullshit. They're all the same kind of flailing they've been doing on Fox News for 2 fucking years. There's no there at all. So why worry? If if your opponent is punching themselves in the face, don't interrupt. Anyways, love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Philip Bittner will be joining us for the morning show, and it will be on Trump cuff watch at some point. I wonder if he gets shackled. I think it would be hilarious. Again, like I said, if this were me, I would insist. I would insist on them being in front of me, like my hands cuffed in front of me, if they allow it at all, just so I could hold them up and go, see what's happening? Political prisoner. Right? That's how I'd make a big show out of it. But I know. I'm smart.